Hi, we are Andy and Rich, and welcome to our channel, Remembrance of the Past, where we will be visiting churches, war graves, pillboxes and bunkers.
We are in parish of Whitwell with Steetley Chapel. PO/665S Private E. Webster, Royal Marines Light Infantry, died 22nd of October 1918, aged 27.
Steetley Chapel is very special, a gem of early architecture and the most complete and beautiful specimen of Norman work to be found anywhere in Europe. The chapel lies within the parish of Whitwell, about 2 miles from its sister church of St. Lawrence in Whitwell village. The chapel is situated in the hamlet of Steetley, just 3 miles from Worksop, in the northeastern corner of Derbyshire, on the borders of Nottinghamshire, Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. The chapel is said to have been built by the landowner Gley le Breton during the Anarchy of Stephen, but it could be earlier, Anglo-Saxon time. One reason is the evidence of a slot behind the main door, which would have been used as an invasion beam. In the year 1349, Steetley, like most of the country, fell victim to the Great Plague. It didn't take long for the village to die. There was no one left, and the chapel began to deteriorate. The roof caved in and eventually what was left of the structure was covered with ivy. In the 17th century, during the Civil War, a skirmish took place between the Roundheads and the Cavaliers in the chapel grounds, and musket ball holes are still visible on the outer walls of the chapel. Just when it looked as if Steetley Chapel would remain a ruin, the opening of coal mines in the 18th century revived the village, and the restoration of the chapel began under the direction of Canon Mason, the rector of Whitwell. The work was finally completed in 1880 and the chapel was rededicated to All Saints.
.4805716, Staff Sergeant Douglas Allen Thorpe, died 18th December 1945, aged 25.
Douglas was born on the 6th of January in Nottingham. At the age of 2 he moved with his parents, Thomas and Martha Thorpe, and his sister, Sylvia, to live at the Half Moon Inn, Whitwell. He matriculated at London University and passed in several subjects. He enlisted at Lincoln in 1940, and after initial training at Shoreditch, he became a radio mechanic, serving at Totton, Sidcup and at Sandringham working on radar. He helped in the London Blitz, tackling incendiaries at St. Paul's Cathedral. He embarked for the Middle East via Cape Town in June 1942 and served in Egypt, Libya and Tunisia. By 1944 to 1945 he was in Italy and saw the eruption of Mount Vesuvius.
Vesuvius explodes. Italy's historic volcano bursts into the most fearsome and devastating eruption in 70 years. Over the fiery crater, a great pall of smoke and lava dust spirals into the sky, a giant specter of endless grief for the Italian people. Suffering under many years of brutal fascism, then German occupation, then Allied bombing, then the devastation of battle, now it is Vesuvius. At least once in every century of the Christian era, it has hurled disaster.
Douglas reached the rank of Staff Sergeant. In 1943, having served mainly in ACAC workshops, REME, he was awarded the 1939 to 1945 Star and the Italy Star. Douglas died in a train accident in Surrey in 1945, aged 25 years.
(933-072). Gunner Arthur Bird passed away May 8, 1940, aged 21.
Arthur Bird was born on the 20th of June, 1918 to William Henry and Blanche. He had 6 brothers and 2 sisters. He attended Whitwell School, and in 1934 the family moved from Whitwell Common to Duchess Street. Leaving school, he was employed at Reg Atwood's butcher's shop before joining up. Arthur, aged 20 years, then enlisted with the militia just before war was declared. He was a batman to an officer. After a tragic car accident, he died in Bath Hospital on the 8th of May, 1939. He was 21 and is buried in Whitwell Churchyard.
13596 Private G.E. Lee, Leicestershire Regiment, 24th of October 1920. (359-818) Pioneer Colin Ashley, Royal Engineers, died 30th of August 1918, aged 23.
(143-1809) Sergeant Joseph William Willies, Air Bomber, Royal Air Force, died 22nd of April 1944, aged 22.
Joseph was born on the 21st of January, 1922, at Holbeck near Cuckney, Nottinghamshire. He came to Whitwell with his parents aged 2. He was the eldest son of Mr. and Mrs. W.M. Willies, and had 2 brothers and 1 sister, and lived on Duke Street, Whitwell. After leaving education, he found employment at Whitwell Colliery as a haulage hand and was there for about 5 years. He joined the RAF in 1941, and after serving in many parts of England, he was sent to the RAF training school in Western Canada. He qualified as a sergeant observer and was capable of navigating and piloting in an emergency. He returned to England and flew on over 20 operational flights. Joe met and married Miss Florence H. Brown, a member of the WAF, in January 1944 at Aylesbury. Joseph was reported killed on active service after a tragic accident. His plane, a Sterling bomber, was completing a night training flight on the 22nd of April, 1944, and on approach at 3:58 a.m., his aircraft collided with another Sterling bomber. Sadly, there were no survivors. He was only 22 years of age.
(741-927) Sergeant William Burnley Higgins, pilot, Royal Air Force, died 14th of September 1940, aged 26.
Higgins was educated at Brunt's Grammar School, Mansfield. Afterwards, he became an uncertificated teacher, teaching at his Old Church of England Junior School at Whitwell, where he ran the football and cricket teams. In 1934, Higgins began a 2-year teacher training course at Culham College, near Abingdon, Berkshire, qualifying for his teaching certificate. Higgins joined the RAF Volunteer Reserve in August 1938 as an airman under training pilot. At the time of the Battle of Britain, William Burley Higgins was older than most fighter pilots, initially training with No. 27 Elementary and Reserve Flying Training School at Tollerton in Nottinghamshire. After being called up on the 1st of September, 1939, he completed his training at No. 5 Flying Training School, Sealand, between December 1939 and June 1940. Higgins joined No. 32 Squadron at Big Gin Hill on the 18th of June, direct from Sealand. On his first operational sortie on the 3rd of July, he shared in the downing of a Dornier 17. On the 20th of July, he claimed a Messerschmitt 110 as probably destroyed, but was also slightly wounded on this sortie, returning to base safely. On the 12th of August, he claimed another probable, this time a Messerschmitt 109. Later, on the 24th of July, he shot down another. When 32 Squadron was sent to Acklington for rest at the end of August, Higgins volunteered to stay in the fight and joined 253 Squadron at Kenley on the 9th of September. Flying as a Yellow 2, Higgins took off on his first sortie with 253 Squadron at 3:15 p.m. on the 11th of September. The squadron made a successful interception, some miles northwest of Dover, of a formation of Heinkel 111s escorted by Messerschmitt 109 and 110. In the fight that followed, the squadron claimed 2 Messerschmitt 109s destroyed, 3 Dornier Do 215s destroyed, a Messerschmitt 110 damaged, a Heinkel 111s probably destroyed. Higgins' contribution was the downing of one of the 109s, which crashed at Houndine Bottom, Lewis, and a damaged Messerschmitt 110. Higgins' second and final sortie with 253 Squadron took place on the afternoon of the 14th of September. The 8 Hurricanes of the squadron took off to patrol Tenterden, but were vectored to intercept reported bombers over Maidstone. However, they found only a formation of Messerschmitt 109s 5 miles west of Faversham. The squadron was in a poor position, being both below and down sun of the enemy formation. As they turned and climbed towards them, the 109s attacked. In the short dogfight that followed, the squadron claimed 109 shot down. However, Sergeant Burns was shot down with severe burns and Sergeant Higgins was killed. His Hurricane, P-5184, crashed in flames at Swanton Bridge, Bredgar, not far from Sittingbourne. A witness drove to the site of the crash and dragged the pilot's body from the flames. He later wrote to Higgins' girlfriend stating his belief that Higgins had died in the air.
The side is Captain Michael E. Higgins, died 7th of October 1961, aged 38.
Michael Higgins on the 6th of October, 1961 was a captain of Dakota GAMSW of Derby Aviation en route from Gatwick to Perpignan in the south of France. In poor weather and probably off course, it struck a mountain, Le Canigo, in the Pyrenees. All 34 passengers and crew were killed. The official report blamed navigational error.
Five 556-980, Trooper Frank Arnold Matthew, died 10th of September 1939, aged 39. 15296, Lance Corporal Levi Squires, Notts and Derby Regiment, 8th of May 1917, aged 24.